What's up YouTube, Dow here from Zephyr Wargames, bringing you a test stand video for the Elementsaber deck profile that I showed you guys the other day. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do our standard test stands of 3 going first and 3 going second to show you how this deck operates. So without further ado, after a good old shuffle and a decent cut, our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the fields, which is never really that bad. So we're going to activate our terraforming. Our terraforming will search us out. Our can we push further? I think we can push further if we go with Dragon's Ravine. Try to figure this one out. Yeah, why not? Let's go with Dragon's Ravine. So we'll activate the Dragon's Ravine, use its effect. We'll get rid of the dead scapegoat because our opponent's not going to be able to get rid of our scapegoat too early during their turn. We'll use that effect of Ravine to dump our Destrudo. We're then going to normal summon our Malayu, or we're going to use Destrudo's effect to target the Malayu, and then we're going to sync those up. Our Destrudo will go back to the bottom of the deck. Always remember to put the Destrudo back to the bottom of the deck. So after they synced up, they're going into the Ancient Fairy Dragon, wherever she may be. There we go. Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon will nuke the board, getting rid of our Ravine, and then searching us out, I believe. Yep. And she will search us out our second Palace of the Elemental Lords. We'll activate our first Palace of the Elemental Lords, and we'll search ourselves out a... what should we search out? How many would it be left in grave? We've only got a dark in there right now. Let's go with Route 1 play. So our Route 1 play is to search out our Lapulia mana. We would special summon our Lapulia mana using the field effect to send 2 from our deck to the grave. So we'd send our Mankini, and we'd send our Fire. Where are you, Fire? Mallow. So they'll both be in the graveyard now. We can then activate our second, and our second one effect will go off and allow us to search our Anya. It's probably our best one to go with. Alternatively, you could send Lapulia. It depends on what you think your opponent's going to be doing. Now, we've already used our normal summon, so we'll use the special summon of Ancient Fairy Dragon. We'll use the effect of this one to send one from deck to the graveyard. So we'll send our Lapulia. Now you have the option. Now, ideally in this scenario, because we don't have any more cards in hand, Lapulia is your better option, because Lapulia is a quick play and going into fence can be very, very helpful. Otherwise, if you had another monster in hand, I would say go for the Makini, because your Makini would then, of course, give you the ability to search you out like a Mooning Glacier. So we'll go with the Lapulia. Lapulia is now alive because it's got its effect can be activated during our opponent's turn, and we can send from our deck to the graveyard instead. You could set your scapegoat. By setting the scapegoat, I would say if you're going to do so, you need to clear out your space. You need to get rid of the Lapulia and link up. Otherwise, there's no point in putting this down because you just can't use it. You're better off holding on to it. Now, ideally, if you are going to use it, you could go a bit more defensively and you can go into a topological Trisbenia. That, of course, would go with these 3, and you can start nuking and banishing your opponent's spells and traps. This, of course, then gives your opponent more to worry about, because the second they special summon to a zone this points to, they're in huge, huge trouble. Alternatively, you could set the scapegoat, hoping your opponent's going to knock these out. But let's not forget, your cards can't be destroyed by battle or card effect because you sent an Earth, was it Earth? Wind and Fire with this effect. So they can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. So they're pretty safe. So it's up to you if you want to link up or whether you want to leave them as are. But that is, it comes down to personal preference and playing style. And of course, you've got your Ancient Fairy Dragon. And let's not forget, we've got 1, 2, 3 cards with different attributes in the graveyard. So all of our cards are going to gain 200 attack and defense thanks to the field spell. Meaning, Ancient Fairy Dragon is a 3600 wool. Lapulia mana is a 3k beta. And then Anya and Paula, Lapulia is a 27 defender and Anya is a 24 defender. So we've got more than enough defense on our side, basically. Okay, so now let's move on to our second test hand going first. After a good old shuffle and then a decent fair cut, our opening hand of 5 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. How does Scapegoat clog, but everything else that I play at 3 in this deck doesn't? We're going to go with our Terraforming. We could go with our Dragon's Ravine if we want to and get rid of one of the Scapegoats and do the Ancient Fairy Dragon play. Now, the Ancient Fairy Dragon play is better, in my opinion, after set rotation has been played, because unless you're going to lock your opponent out of their field spell zone, set rotation will lock you out. So you could search out the field spell or Palace of the Elemental Lords. But if we go with Dragon's Ravine, we actually get rid of some dead cards in our hand. So we'll get rid of this Scapegoat. We'll send a Destrudo from deck to the graveyard. We then normal summon our Maleo. Use Destrudo's effect to target Maleo, bring it back and sink, and then Destrudo goes back to the bottom of the deck. Our Ancient Fairy Dragon will nuke the board, or nuke the fields anyway. Actually, if we took that back, I'm just trying to figure this one out. It would have been better, before we do all of this, like I was saying, do we? It depends. Like I said, if you want to lock your opponent out of your field spell, out of the field spell zone, do all of it as we've just done. If you don't want to lock them out of the field spell because you don't think it's going to benefit you as much, then I'd activate set rotation at this point in time, getting rid of that Dragon's Ravine, giving yourself your Palace, giving them your second Dragon's Ravine for deck fin because you no longer need it. I've just gone past it, there we go. Then use your Palace to search out your Lapolia mana. Use Lapolia mana's effect to special summon itself to the field. Put in Nelu and Makini to the graveyard. Then sync up into your Ancient Fairy Dragon. Nuke the board, gain back 1,000 life points, put those to the graveyard. Destrudo then goes back to the bottom of your deck. And then we get to search ourselves out another Palace. So we'd activate the Palace. We can use that effect again to search. And we've already used our normal summon, but we still have a special summon available to us. So it's entirely up to us on how we want to do this. If we go with our Anya, the only downside with our Anya is the most effective card for us to bring back, because we don't have one in our hand, would be the Maleo. Alternatively to that, you search out your Lapolia, or you can search out your Mankini. Now with the Makini, you would just get a free search. We've only got 3 in the graveyard, so there's no point in getting one of your big boss monsters out yet. With Anya, you would then leave your board with 2 monsters on that, and you could link up with Ancient Fairy Dragon and Anya if you wanted to. Or, of course, you can go with your Lapolia, and you protect yourself through spell and trap card effects. So it's entirely up to you on which ones of these you'd like to go for. I would probably say your Anya can be the most disruptive, because you can special summon her in defense mode. Her effect, using Palace's effect, to send Lapolia from deck to the graveyard and bring back your Maleo. Now, obviously, your Maleo is a nice 2, 4, 6, 2500 beta, and he is a Book of Moon during our opponent's turn, because we can use this effect, send another one from our deck to the graveyard. Alternatively, you could link up to a link 3 if you want to, or you can leave your board like this, because your cards are protected by battle and card effect thanks to Mania. So it is really up to you on how you'd want to play from then on. Of course, if you do link up into a link 3, that's where your Scapegoat then becomes even more powerful, because you're already a step ahead of the game. If you were to link 3 into either your Topologic Trisbania, or of course go into your Decode Talker, or if you really wanted to, you could go into your Nightmare Unicorn, and by doing so, you've set yourself up for plays next turn. Obviously, it's not co-linked, so you won't get to draw the card, but and then it won't protect your other co-linkers, so you don't really want to be doing that one just yet. It just sets you up for future plays. Alternatively, you can go into 2 links, which is your Chimera, your Phoenix. There's no point in going to the Goblin. You could go into an Isolde, but you'd have to get rid of your Ancient Fairy Dragon first, or you go into an Underclock Taker and then start moving your plays further forward from there. So it's up to you whether you want to be putting Scapegoat down or not. That is just some of the options you can further forward push your plays. Okay, so now let's go with our third and final test hand going first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not as much of an explosive hand as I would have liked, but of course we still have everything we need. Now this one, again, you probably want to be doing your terraforming first before your set rotation, and it's up to you on whether you want to go for the Destrudo play, or if you want to go for your just your standard Elementsaber play. Now if you go for the Destrudo play, you will be losing one of these cards in your hand. Otherwise, you can push more for a settled Elementsaber play. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with the Elementsaber play because I've already shown you the Destrudo play. I'm not saying this is the correct one or the wrong one to go with. This is just an option for us to try it out to show you how it works. So we go with the field spell there. The field spell would then, of course, search us out our Lapolia mana. We would use Lapolia mana's effect using the field spell for the abuse to send our Mallow and to send our... We send our Makini, because we've got this Makini here that will give us an additional search, but it's entirely up to you what one you'd like to send. But I would say between Makini and Anya, you've just got to choose. Now, we can use our normal summon now for the Makini, but what you want to be doing is you want to do your set rotation, get rid of that, give our opponent the Dragon's Ravine, give ourselves the Palace, use that Palace effect to search out our Anya. That's probably what we should have done actually. Stupid. Swap the Anya for the Makini. This is where you mean you've got to think quite a few steps ahead of yourself. Because then what you want to do is you'd want to normal summon your Ania. Use Ania's effect. Oh, hello. Without dropping the one card you want to search. I'm just going to darken it for you guys so the light doesn't go. There we go. Go for our Ania. Anya can use her effect using the Elemental Lord's field spell. And you can send your Maleo if you want to, or of course you could send your Lapolia, depending on which one you would like to bring back. Now Lapolia gives you a bit more defense during your opponent's turn, but I wouldn't worry too much about that because we do have the trap, we can change them around. So, I would say send your Maleo as your cost with your Anya, and Anya can then revive your Makini. Now your Makini can then use her effect to send herself from the hand to search you out any of your cards you want to push forward for your next turn play. Now I would probably say go for your mana for your next turn. You then have the ability to link up should you wish, or you can sit there with defensive minded. Set your training, pass your turn for this one anyway, and then in doing so you would activate this during the standby phase to tag out one of these. I would say tag out your Anya because she's not going to be doing a huge amount for you right now, and she's the most open one, being in attack mode. So you go into your Lapolia. Your Lapolia now has the ability effect, thanks to the field spell, to negate a spell or trap that your opponent might play. This now protects your field spell, and then you've got plays for your next turn coming up. So that's just a more defensive Elementsaber first turn board. And again, like I said, you can link up or you can extend your plays even further. Anyway, let's now start getting a bit more aggressive, going second. So our first test hand going second, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, hello, 5, 6. All the fields again. It's not bad, but you've got to be very, very careful with your fields. So it might then come down to, you know, your personal choices of what you want to go for. Again, if you want to be more aggressive, the Destrudo play is probably your better option because you won't get locked out of your battle phase. But if we're going to go for a bit more defensive, if you want to, basically, if you want to do damage to your opponent first off, I would say you could go into Rose, nuke your opponent's board, and then you've got plays to start moving forward that way. Alternatively, if we're just going to play our normal plays, we'd go with Terraforming. Terraforming would search us out our field spell. We can then activate our Dragon's Ravine. Dragon's Ravine can send any of this to the graveyard. Ideally, you want to hold on to these. You could even hold on to your set rotation. So again, it's up to you on what you want to go for. Now, by getting rid of our set rotation, we would get our Destrudo, wherever he is. Destrudo to the graveyard. We could then activate our Palace. You don't have to activate any of the effects right now, so it's up to you if you want to use and abuse your normal summon. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go for either clearing our opponent's board, or we're going to go for taking cards from our opponent's hand. So we've got a Destrudo in graveyard. We need to use one of our normal summons. We can use one of our searches if we want to. So if we are going to use our search, if we use our search, we're not going to be able to do damage to our opponent. If you want to do damage to your opponent, don't use your search. Do the little bits of damage you can do without using the search, and then start pushing for your searches for protection next turn. So again, entirely up to you. But if we want to go for the Ancient Fairy Dragon to play as well, we are going to lose our battle phase. So we'll go for the search on this one. We'll get our Lapulia, we'll special summon our Lapulia, send in 2 to the graveyard, and we're going to send our Mankini and our Mallow, and that's going to protect our stuff from destruction for this turn. We're then going to normal summon. Actually, let's use our second field spell first. Our second field spell would then search us out. Where are you? I need our Ania. Search out our Ania. We still have our normal summon as well, so don't worry about that. We're then going to normal summon our Ania. This Ania is going to use her effect to send from deck to the graveyard, and she will send our Nalu. And our Nalu, by doing that, we're going to revive our Makini. Makini's effect will discard herself and search us out our... Now again, this is if you want to clear your opponent's board or rip from their hand. If they don't have a hand, then obviously you're going to nuke their board. If they don't have a board but they've got a hand, you're going to go with this one. So either of all of these two that you're going to search off of your Mankini. We're then going to use Destrudo in graveyard, pay half our life points, sync up with one of these guys, go into the Ancient Fairy. Ancient Fairy is going to nuke our board or nuke the field spell zones, and we're going to search out our third and final field spell, wherever it is, our Palace. Going to activate our Palace, and we're going to put our Destrudo back to the bottom. We're going to use Palace's effect to search us out a monster for our next plays, and that can be mana, or if you want to, you can search out another one of these. Let me just double check this one. I think if I've done this right, we can loop Mooning Glacier. I think. Don't quote me on it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 in the graveyard. We can't loop Mooning Glacier. Oh well. We can still do a bit. So going with an Ania, because they're not hard once per turns, we can normal summon our Ania. We can use Ania's effect, again using the field spell because it's a new field spell, to send our Malayu from our deck to our graveyard. We can then revive any of these if we wanted to discard from our hand to then search out another card. So if we went with our Makini, obviously the biggest issue with the Makini is we're going to turn everything water for the Malayu anyway. Probably go for your more defensive kind of play if you wanted to. Otherwise, let's go with what we've got, 2 2s. Let's go with Malayu. I'm going to get all of it's going into the grave anyway, because we're going to link all 4 of those together, all 4 with different names. And you guessed it, we're going into our boss monster, Saruja. Now I'm just going to shuffle this because it was the last thing I did. Did I do the special summon off of Ancient Fairy Dragon? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I did. I think the special summon off of Ancient Fairy Dragon was the Ania, not a normal summon. Anyway, we draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, none of that's really that helpful. We could terraform it for another Palace if we want to. No, we can't. We've used them all. All of that can go back apart from the Malayu then. Use Saruja's effect to special summon 1 from hand. Now, of course, we can bring out our Lapulia. I'm going to go with this Lapulia, and that can go there. We then turn this into water, 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 and water, or you can keep the other one that is water. We're going to bring out our Mooning Glacier. Mooning Glacier can go under Saruja to give it more attack, or it can stay away from Saruja, entirely up to you. And then we pass to our opponent. Now, with the field spell in play, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it all monsters in our graveyard? Yeah, different attributes. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different attributes in our graveyard. So all of these are gaining 1200 attack and defense, which is busted. We skip our battle phase during our next turn. But eventually when we do get an attack, let's say we skip our battle phase, we can bring out this Lapulia without having to search, sending 2 more to the graveyard. We can normal summon our Malayu. We've just got more plays going, and you can kind of see where the board kind of takes us from there. So it can be very, very aggressive. You've just got to be very, very patient. So, if I did miss the summon off of Ancient Fairy Dragon, then of course you can extend into more link plays, and that's where you can start bringing out your nightmares to give you additional draws and stuff like that. Anyway, our second test stand going second. After a good old shuffle, decent cut shuffle. There we go. Our next hand of 6 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Very, very interesting on this one. Okay, so we'll hold on to that because then I can search out later what I need. Dragon's Ravine. The shameful thing about Dragon's Ravine is we're going to send a Destrudo to send another Destrudo. The only good thing about that is we'll have an additional Dark in our graveyard should we get into Dark Armor Dragon, but I'm not saying that we will. Alternatively, instead of going into... I'll show you... You could go into Ancient Fairy Dragon play. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into a different play, I think. I think it might be more beneficial for us to go into a different style of play. So if we activate... activate our Lord... sorry, not our Lord. Our Field Spell. Special Summon our Lapulia Mana. Send... wind and earth. There we go. Wind and fire. Sorry. Send wind and fire. Rhoda. Go into our earth. There we go. Normal summon our earth. Earth can send wind from our hand to the graveyard and get to revive wind. We can then use Destrudo number 1 to target our Anya, and we're going to sync those up. And we are going to go into the Ancient Fairy Dragon play. I think it's the better option of the two, because she can nuke the board, even though we're going to miss our battle phase, which means we could have searched off of that as well if we wanted to. So let's say we did, and we'll go with our Malayu. We'll then get another one. We'll use that one to search one, and that can search us out our Anya. Then going to normal summon our Anya, or special summon our Anya off of the Ancient Fairy Dragon. Use Anya's effect, use Makini's effect to search out our... Well, again, if you want to nuke your opponent's board, or if you want to rip the hand. So I'm always going for a rip from the hand, because I think that's more painful. So we're doing that one using the effect of the field to send that. I think we've got to put Destrudo back. Yep, Destrudo goes back. Then we're going to use Anya's effect to send Malayu from our hand to the graveyard to revive our Mankini. Our Makini is going to sync all up. Well, not a Makini, sorry. Let's revive the Malayu. We're going to sync all 4 of those up and go into our Saruja. Saruja is then going to let us draw 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 cards. We can get both of those on board quite easily. Right. So, off of the Saruja, I'm going to say to put these 3 back. I don't think we need another field spell. No, I don't think we do. Let me just check the graveyard again. So if we keep that dark, turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into wind, turn that into dark, and we put that into dark. Yeah, that's right. Not wind, sorry, water. Yeah, that's fine. So we can put all those back. We're not even going to use Saruja's effect to special summon. We're going to special summon Mooning Glacier by turning Anya, Malio, Makini, and Anya into water. And then we've got Destrudo, we're going to turn that into dark, and we got that into dark. And we're going to bring out our Dark Armoured Dragon. We're then going to use Dark Armoured Dragon's effect to banish either the Destrudo, the Mallow, or the Meleu, and pop a card on the field. We've ripped 2 from our opponent's hand. If we want to put them there, they've got extra boost from that. And then on top of that, not right now in the battle phase, but after this is over, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 different attributes in the graveyard. So they're all going to gain a K as well. And then, again, as soon as it comes around to us being able to attack, we have 3 of the strongest beaters on board. The Mooning Glacier is protected under Elementsaber Lepolia Mana with its effective indestructibility because of the 2 cards we sent from our deck to the grave. Anyway, let's do our final test hand, go in second, and see how we can finish this one off. I think this is the biggest issue. If the field spell didn't have that clause of if you search, skip your next battle phase, and I know that's kind of how the Elementsaber Lords work, it would have been so much better. Anyway, our last test hand of 6 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, we're going to go with the field spell. And now with this spell, well, I'm just going to try and get as much damage on the board as I possibly can. So we'll go with the field spell there. We'll use Lepolia's effect here to send 2 from our deck. I'm going to send our Anya, and we're going to send our Maleu. Where are you? Malou. There we go. We're going to send our Fire Malou. We could, if we wanted to, of course, that could have been a Dragon's Ravine, and we could have done the exact same plays we did last time, which would, of course, extend our combos a lot further. Because in that kind of instance, we would go into Dragon's Ravine, use Dragon's Ravine, pitch Destrudo, normal summon one of these, sink into an Ancient Fairy Dragon, get into the field spell. Field spell would then be able to give us this guy on board. We'd then be able to start looping stuff from our graveyard. So that will probably be the better play. So let me take that one back. I'm just trying to show you what the Element Laws can do without Dragon's Ravine, but it does help massively. So these will stay in deck for now. This will stay on, in hand. We'd use Dragon's Ravine, pitch a Destrudo, send a Destrudo. There he is. Doesn't really matter which one of these you normal summon right now, but just in case we try to revive from the graveyard, Lepolia is going to be our better option. Then we're going to use Destrudo's effect, sync up. 1 Destrudo goes back to the bottom of the deck. We've got our Ancient Fairy Dragon. Our Ancient Fairy Dragon is going to nuke the board. That will then give us, of course, our field spell. We're then going to play our field spell. Going to be able to special summon our Lepolia Mana for free. Send in our Mallow and our Anya. If we want to search, we can do. We haven't used our normal. We have used our normal summon yet. So if we do want to search, we would search out our Anya. We would then special our Anya off of Ancient Fairy Dragon, completely null and void in our battle phase. Entirely up to you if you want to do that or not. Otherwise, you would just go in for the attack. You'd probably put Ancient Fairy into attack mode, do attack, do your damage, and then next turn, after that, no, because you have to lose your battle phase, sorry. So then that's your option. Otherwise, because we're going to lose our battle phase, we're going to special summon up from our Ancient Fairy Dragon. We're going to use Anya's effect to send our Nalu from our hand, and we're going to revive our Lepolia. The Lepolia then provides us with a bit of defensive capabilities. If we want to, we can link up. Otherwise, we can sit there nice and pretty and defensively. And we have, I believe, 4, sorry. So we've got 4 different attributes in the graveyard, so each of these are getting 800. These 3 can't be destroyed by battle or card effect. We've got a Scapegoat if we want to push our plays further forward that way. We can negate a spell or trap during our opponent's turn by sending one from our deck to our graveyard and kind of move our plays from that way. And then our Anya, if she stays on board, can revive any of these 2 and move plays even further forward. And then if our Ancient Fairy Dragon stays on board, again, we can start special summoning from our hand. So it's a very, very interesting deck. It's a little bit slower than most modern decks, which is why it won't be, you know, meta-defining because of that clause in the field spell. It's really, really good, but it does say, basically, you can't rush your opponent. In the short notes, that is exactly what it says, is you can't rush your opponent. will let you have boards of big beaters, but you have to take your time with it. Anyway, I hope this has helped. I hope this has given you an idea of how the deck runs. I am, you know, physically new to the deck. I've been testing it online for a while now, but it's just remembering the physicalities of doing it yourself and having to think and not leaving it on an automated system. So if I have done anything wrong, please let me know, just so I can make sure I don't do it wrong again. But I hope this has given you a kind of basic understanding of the deck and how it operates, and hopefully give you a couple of tips and tricks of how you can kind of use and abuse a deck. But thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as always, happy dueling.